repeating Arjuna's argument about his compassion towards the body of his relatives. So Krishna is saying that we are not these bodies, we are spirit soul, and spirit soul is not going to die. We will hear specifically in the coming up verses about the nature of the soul. And here, this is the warm up that because happiness and distress are just temporary, they keep coming and going, just as the summer and winter keeps coming and going. So, and it is because of the sense perception only, and senses are what? They are completely material. Their place in the hierarchy is the lowest. So first it is gross senses, and then it's higher than the senses is the mind, higher than the mind is the intelligence, and higher than intelligence is the spirit soul, and higher than that is super soul. And without the sanction of super soul, even the soul cannot do anything. So at the senses level, we need to tolerate, because anything that is happening, that happiness or distress, that is because of the sense perception, which is the lowest. So we need to tolerate. We train ourselves to tolerate. Tolerance is very, very important. Yesterday, here in Alachua, there was a Srila Prabhupada's disciple, somebody was visiting, I forgot their name, Uttama Prabhu, I think. They were visiting because there was a seminar about how to resolve conflicts among husband and wife, that kind of a seminar. I forgot the exact name, but something like that. So Prabhuji gave a class yesterday evening, Sunday feast. So he was telling that how that tolerance and forgiveness is so important. So I really catch one point. For example, somebody does something to us. We are all growing in our Krishna consciousness, right? So some devotee offends us at some particular point of time, and we hold a grudge in our heart, right? So, but after some time, the person has changed, person has improved, but still we are holding that grudge in our heart, which is not right. So we need, that's what Prabhuji was telling, that we shouldn't hold those grudges. We should tolerate and we should forgive also, because that person is changing. It's not that that person remains the same. And then we hear all the time that if we see those negatives in others and we keep a grudge in our heart for that, then we get the result of their sins. But if we tolerate, then we will not get the results of their bad stuff, right? But they will take our whatever little bad sinful things or bad thing we are carrying, they will take that if we tolerate. I mean, it's not for that purpose, but it is for our own improvement purpose. Yeah, and I remember hearing from Nitai Sevni Mataji also. She says, okay, they may be 100% wrong, but what is my goal? Is my goal to just stay here and take revenge or go back to Godhead? I mean, I'm paraphrasing, I don't remember exact words, but something like that, to that extent. So that tolerance is very, very important. And then again, that one verse that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that we should wear on the thread of holy name, that Trinada Pisunichena verse, meaning we should follow it very, very nicely, so that also tolerance also comes in there. Yeah, all right. So let's continue. Verse 15. Someone wants to read?
I can read Mataji.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Chapter 2, verse 15. Yam hi na yathayante ete purusham purusarthava shabha sam dukha sukham dhiram so amritavaya kalpate. Translation purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O best among men, Arjuna, the person who is not disturbed by happiness and distress and is steady in both is certainly eligible for liberation. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Right.
Anyone who is steady in his determination for the advanced stage of spiritual realization and can equally tolerate the onslaughts of distress and happiness is certainly a person eligible for liberation. In the Varnashrama institution, the fourth stage of the, namely the renounced order sannyasa, is a painstaking situation. But one who is serious about making his life perfect surely adopt the sannyas order of life in spite of all difficulties. The difficulty usually arise from having to sever family relationships to give up the connection of wife and children. But if anyone is able to tolerate such difficulties, surely his path to spiritual realization is complete. Similarly, in Arjuna's discharge of duty as a Kshatriya, he is advised to preserve even if it is difficult to fight with his family members or similarly beloved persons. Lord Chaitanya took sannyas at the age of 24 and dependents and his dependents' young wife as well as old mother had no one else to look after them. Yet for a higher cause he took sannyasa and was steady in the discharge of our duties. That, that is the way of achieving liberation from material bondage. Hare Krishna.
Haribol, you want to say something, Madhu?
Yeah, so here again Krishna says to Arjuna that the person who is tolerating this happiness and distress and he remains the same in both the situations. So he is eligible for the liberation. And Srila Prabhupada give that in the purport that uh, like in the Varnashrama system, even when the sannyas order of life, then person take a sannyas, he has so much difficulties because he has a connection with the wife and children, and in spite of that, he takes the decision to take a sannyas. So it's so much difficult for him, but he takes a sannyas and he tolerates all these difficulties, and he forward to the spiritual life. Krishna says to Arjuna like he is a kshatriya and kshatriya's duty is to fight. So Arjuna has to fight with his family members, and it was very difficult for him to fight with the members. But he has to tolerate all this. He has to remain same, either happiness or distress. He has to remain same, and he has to fight with the family members. And even Srila Prabhupada given more example of Chaitanya Mahaprabhuji. When he took sannyas, he was only 24 years of age. And at that time, his wife and his mother are dependent on him. Still, he took sannyas. So, in all these situations, uh, uh, we have to be remain same. That what Krishna says, and that is then we can go for the liberation. Yeah, that's all matter.
Yeah. So very, very important that how in this first time he is speaking about the spiritual goal, liberation. This is the first time in Bhagavad Gita Krishna is speaking, and it's all beginning of Bhagavad Gita itself. He is telling the formula for liberation. That when one is undisturbed by the onslaught of happiness and distress, and that is only what is required is just tolerate and do your prescribed duties. By that, what will happen? We will attain knowledge, and that is the prerequisite for liberation. Amazing, right? So in the beginning, second chapter itself, Krishna is giving the solution. What do we need to do? And see, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings and Krishna's teachings are not different. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's also, Prabhu also say, Taraurapi Sahishnuna, be tolerant, more tolerant than, be tolerant as trees, right? Yeah. So very, very important. The tolerance part is very, very important. Actually, if we understand what will be the result of that tolerance, then it will be easier for us to tolerate, right? Force
But it's
ourselves to that up.
yeah, Mataji, but it's very difficult. Some situations,
Yeah.
takes time. It takes time, Mataji.
Yeah, it's a practice. It's a practice. And also
Yeah,
again and again reminding ourselves of the goal. It's
yes,
not easy. It's not
it's,
easy, but
yeah.
when we keep reading and hearing and discussing, then we might remember next time the situation comes. We may not act on it, but at least we remember. We will come to a stage where we will remember, oh, I should have tolerated, right? And
But
then again, yeah, Mati.
sometimes in material life, mother, the people in this material world, we know that how they are, So
Yeah.
when we tolerate, then they take advantage of us.
No, so it's not that we let others take advantage of it, meaning we can say things but not get agitated by it, not affect ourselves. Basically, we can speak. It's not that, but we have to be respectful. Whatever we say properly and respectfully, not out of the emotions that we get when we are treated badly by people, right?
Mhm.
So how do we do that, Mataji? Because
It's a
some
practice, Prabhu. It's a practice. It's a practice. And it's not always going to be that, it's not easy.
yeah.
Not
Because
easy.
I realize after the fact I should not have spoken in
Yeah,
such a way.
yeah, yeah. The regret part, right? We heard in Bhagavatam also. It's not easy. It's not at all easy. And because we are not pure yet. We are not pure yet. But if we continue, if we try our best, even that realization that, oh, I should have not spoken like that, that is great. That is a solution. 50% solution is done. The moment we regret, we recognize, not even regret, recognize, regret, and then rectify and reinstate. Again and again, we remind ourselves to rectify ourselves, right? And of course, we cannot do it all alone. We beg for the mercy. That gives rise to humility in our heart. I can't do it on my own, Krishna. Right? I am dependent on your mercy. And you may have, all of us have seen probably some change in ourselves, maybe not humongous, but little bit probably what we were before and what we are now. So that should give us some encouragement that yes, now I'm able to tolerate a little bit better. Right?
Yeah.
We should, yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, I was just going to say, in Christianity, Jesus Christ, he also advocates this humility, but tolerance. I mean, it is that to a level which is very, very difficult for us to accept.
Mhm.
He says, if
Yeah.
somebody hits one cheek, then you turn,
Mhm.
turn, and
Yeah.
turns towards the other
Yeah.
cheek.
Yeah, yeah. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he speaks about those verses, the Sikshashtakam verses, when he says about Trinadapi Sunyachena Tarorapi Saishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtanya Sadahari, then when he speak about tolerant, more tolerant than tree, then he tells actually how trees are tolerating and they are giving and giving and giving. That's how he wants us to become. Then only we can chant the holy name of the Lord. So it's upon us also, right? What do we want really? Do we want that we want to pure devotional service, or just we want to hang out in this material world and keep finding, oh, this person did this to me, this person did that to me, and all that. And everything is orchestrated by Krishna himself, actually. Yeah, I can tell one. This Prabhuji only told yesterday class. He told this story, real life. So I don't know for whom he was speaking. So he was telling that one of the devotees, they were at some pilgrimage, some place. I don't even remember which one he said. Maybe Vrindavan or some. I think Vrindavan. Yeah. So they were praying, and that devotee was praying. I think he was speaking about his wife or somebody, that they were praying at each place, Krishna, make me a humble devotee. Let me have patience, tolerance, and humility, these three things. And then next day, that Prabhuji was telling that next day, one devotee came in the group, and that devotee was just, blasting right, left, front and back, everywhere. So then this Mataji who was praying like that, she was thinking, I was praying Krishna to make me tolerant, humble, and patient, have patience. Then why is this happening now? Why is this person coming? Then she understood that actually Krishna is giving me a place, then opportunity to practice that. And also, I remember when we hear about Vaishnava etiquette and all, that definitely whatever, when we have taken shelter of Krishna, whatever is coming in our life is actually orchestrated by Krishna for our purification, right?
Right.
And I heard from, I think, His Holiness S.B. Keshav Swami, that there are different levels we can take. Let's say, so whenever somebody is doing something with us which is not acceptable, which we cannot tolerate, then first thing we should think, is there any truth in it at all? Is there any truth in it at all? Maybe there is small truth, most of it is wrong, but maybe there is a little truth. Then we should accept it for our improvement. Even if there is no truth at all in that, that means Krishna is warning me that I should be careful. I should be careful. This thing can happen to me in future. I should be careful. So something like that, actually. It's not easy. Again, it's not easy, but just like Nitai Sevani Mataji says that, where do I want to go? What is my goal? Is my goal to just stay here and get annoyed by others, or my goal is to tolerate and go back? So this is hard. This is hard. Yeah, and when by reading and hearing and all, we understand what is the consequence of fault finding and Vaishnava Parad, then I think it gives us a big boost, right? Okay, let's see. Should we read
Also,
one?
Mata,
Huh?
I just wanted to add, I just wanted to give a couple of examples of this. Srila
Mm-hmm.
Haridas Thakur Maharaj, while he was being whipped, these guys were trying to kill him. And what was he praying for? He was praying for their liberation.
Mm.
Says,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
Lord Jesus Christ, when he was on the
Mm-hmm.
cross, he prayed to the Lord, forgive them because for they do not know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
yeah. Yeah, and there
learn
is one.
something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
so when such situation comes, I remember one of the famous answers by His Holiness Radhanath Swami also speaks about that. When we think that somebody is really nasty and doing all this to me, then that is the thing, we should think of examples in our scriptures. And then he was saying that if we really want Krishna's mercy, we really want Krishna's mercy, the day we will receive Krishna's mercy is when we pray for that other person who is totally nasty, that they grow in Krishna consciousness even more than me. When we come to that stage, then we will receive Krishna's mercy. His Holiness Radhanath Swami makes that statement about such a similar kind of question, kind of thing. Yeah, so this next section, I mean, this is within the same section. Now from 16 to 25th, we will hear about, uh, based on scriptures, who sees the world, like who sees that body, who do not lament about the body, and who see the spirit soul as eternal. So we will see that in these next coming up verses. Maybe we can read one quickly. Is that okay, or should we skip? Or you want more discussion on the same topic that we are?
You can read.
Oh, huh?
You can read, Mataji.
Yeah. Okay. So you want to read, Prabhu?
Yeah, Mataji, I
Yeah.
can read. Thank you so
Sure.
much. Na sato vidayate bhavo, na bhavo vidayate sata, ubayat api dristo nas antas tav anyos tattva darshibhi. Translation per permission of Prabhupada Ki. Those who are seers of the truth have concluded that of the non-existent, the material body, there is no endurance. and of the eternal soul there is no change. This they have concluded by studying the nature of both. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. There is no endurance of the changing body, that the body is changing every moment by actions and reactions of the different cells is admitted by modern medical science. And thus growth and old age are taking place in the body. But the spirit soul exists permanently, remaining the same despite all the changes of the body and the mind. That is the difference between matter and spirit. By nature, the body is ever changing and the soul is eternal. The conclusion is established by all classes of seers of the truth, both the impersonalists and the personalists. In the Vishnu Purana 2.12.38, it is stated that Vishnu and his abode have all self-illuminated spiritual effulgence. Jyotis me Vishnur Bhuvanani Vishnu. The words existence and non-existence refer only to matter and spirit. That is the version of all the seers of truth. This is the beginning of the instruction of thy Lord to the living entity who is bewildered by the influence of ignorance. Removal of ignorance removes the re-establishment of the eternal relationship between the worshipper and the worshipable, and the consequent understanding of the difference between the part and parcel living entities and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One can understand the nature of the Supreme by thorough study of oneself. The difference between oneself and the Supreme Being understood as the relationship being the part and the whole. In the Vedanta Sutras, as well as in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Supreme has been accepted as the origin of all emanations. Such emanations are experienced by superior and inferior natural sequences. The living entities belong to the superior nature, as it will be revealed in the 7th chapter. Although there is no difference between the energy and the energetic is accepted as supreme, and the energy or nature is accepted as subordinate. The living entities, therefore, are always subordinate to the Supreme Lord, as in the case of the master and the servant, or the teacher and the taught. Such clear knowledge is impossible to understand under the spell of ignorance. And to drive away such ignorance, the Lord teaches the Bhagavad Gita for the enlightenment of all living entities for all time.
Yeah,
Hare Krishna.
want to say something, Prabhu?
Yes, Mataji, so this is a continuation of the qualities of the soul and the matter, the body. So here we say, we see that the body is there is no endurance. So no matter what, the body is going to vanish. And even in the present body, the body is changing. What we were in young age, now we become older and we even get older. So the body is continuously changing, but the soul within remains the same. The soul is unchanging. It doesn't undergo any changes. And elsewhere in the purport, Srila Prabhupada said that's why an old man feels the same within as a young man, because the spirit soul is unchanging. It remains constant, while the body is always changing. And this is accepted by both schools of theology, the impersonalist and the personalist. But the important thing, though, is that we have a relationship with the Supreme Lord, and he is our worshipable one, and we are the worshipper, so that we are part and parcels as part of him, part and parcel of him. We have this relationship of servant and the served, and the Supreme Lord is the cause of everything. Everything comes from him, and this knowledge is not it's impossible to understand if we are in avidya, ignorance, and that's why the Lord speaks this Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna for the enlightenment for people like us. Yes, Mataji, that's all I have to say.
Yeah. Yeah, so basically understanding that we are body, not body, but the spirit soul. So in one lecture, Srila Prabhupada speaks about this verse in London in 73. He says there are two things, Sat and Asat. Sat means which exists, and Asat means which does not exist, temporary. It appears and again disappears. That is Asat. The example is just like the sky and the cloud. The cloud appears, exists for some time and disappears. but the sky remains always. This is the distinction between Sat and Asat. Sometimes we have an experience when threads become entangled and it is very difficult to unravel them, and the yarn is sometimes spoiled. So, on account of our attachment to this material body, we are becoming entangled. Such an example, Srila Prabhupada is genius. The modern so-called philosophers, scientists, and scholars say, I think, I think. What is your value? The great personalities will never say this. Therefore, Krishna even says, Tattva Darshibhi. It has been concluded by higher authorities. Krishna himself is the authority. Sometimes he says, Matam Mama. That is my opinion. But he is also following the principle, authoritative, Tattvadarshi. Although Krishna is saying that this is Sat and this is Asat, this is permanent and this is non-permanent, still he is giving evidence that Tattvadarshi, those who have seen the truth, have concluded this. This means authority. So basically, again, Guru Sadhu Shastra we need to follow. Yeah, the non-existent. I mean, it's not that we don't take care of the body, but as Srimad Bhagavatam says that we take care of the body as much as is necessary to keep the body and soul together, not otherwise, right? So it's not that we ignore the body, because if our health is not good, then we won't be able to do any service. So we need to take care of our health, but not pamper the body so much that we waste time in just maintaining the body. And then Srila Prabhupada always also says that we need to earn as much as is required, not burden ourselves with too much work so we don't have any time. Oh, it's 8:45. Anybody wants to say anything, add anything quickly?
I just wanted to say again, taking care of the body, we have to take care of the body because this body belongs to Krishna, not us. The
Yeah,
Sanatana Goswami's
yeah,
Lord Chaitanya's interaction.
That pastime that I have so much to get from this body, it doesn't belong to you, it belongs to me. To Sanatana Goswami Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says when he was thinking of giving up his body in front of the Rath Yatra cart of Chaitanya Jagannath. All right, so tolerance is very important. And we can think of scriptural examples like Haridas Thakur and many others, Jesus Christ, as Janeshwar Prabhu said. Prahlad Maharaj is such an example. Yeah. Yeah, and if we cannot, just like Dhruv Maharaj, we approach somebody who can guide us to Krishna, right? Dhruv Maharaj was not able to tolerate the insult by his stepmother. So his mother it's like a spiritual master. So when we are not able to tolerate, we take guidance from somebody who can help us, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so very important. I think I need to apply that more in my life than.
I think I do too.
All right, dear devotees. So I think it's already 8:64, 8:46. So we should end. Hare Krishna. Thank you all very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Bhagavad Gita
Hare
ki jai.
Krishna.
Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki
Bhagavatam ki
jai.
jai.
Vaishnav
Kalpatra kripa sindhu vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Koti Vaishnav
Anand Koti
ki jai.
Ki jai.
I am so sorry, Sheila Mataji, and what was the other's name? I don't remember. I couldn't do the review yet.
It's okay, Nataji.